thank you for joining me on this journey today for the CST-451 senior project. My name is Ray Ameriga, and I am a senior at Grand Canyon University. First things first, I just want to say it has been a complete honor being able to make this project, being able to create a work of art which is passionate for me, has not only increased my skills but helped me become a better programmer and further my knowledge in the future, especially within the workforce. So with that introduction, let's get started. We start with the index page. It's a lot of lines of code, but it'll make sense. Let's break it down. So I am currently using VS Code as a text editor in order to help me launch my Bootstrap webpage. So I'll even show you right here. I have my index HTML. If you look at my assets, I have my CSS, I have my JavaScript. I also have my vendors, which I've been using as well. I also am using jQuery as well as PHP in order to get certain features up and functional. So enough said. Let's see what the actual application looks like. So you can tell off the bat what this is about. Social justice is one thing in this world which we need. It's sad to say that not everyone has equal rights, but being able to bring this to light will inspire more and create more action. This is too soon, too many. So as you can tell from the start, look at the names. Trayvon Martin, Atania Jefferson, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Let's go down. So this web application is used for showing the truth about police brutality. I personally hope this website informs and educates the public about all recent occurrences and social justice matters. This is some background information about Breonna Taylor. She was an emergency technician. She was 26 years old, and she was also an unarmed African American woman. Unfortunately, she was shot in her Louisville, Kentucky apartment on the 13th of March this year. It was forced entry as part of an investigation into drug dealing operations. And the sad thing about it was that, unfortunately, none of the officers in the raid were charged with her death. So as you can tell, there were riots around the nation which led up to it, based on the proceedings. Here are some facts about police brutality and social injustice. There's a trend of fatal police shootings in the United States. It only seems to be increasing. We see around 721 police shootings have been occurring within the actual year, and the trend is still going up. There's been around 1,004 cases of total number of average cases for police brutality and social injustice. We see that more than 1,100 and counting individuals were killed by police shootings or lethal force. Lastly, we see more than 50 countries around the world have been protesting based on these conditions, because everyone in the world knows that we need social justice. Here are some recent cases, some illustrations. First, we have George Floyd. George Floyd was an African American man who was killed during an arrest after he had passed a counterfeit $20 bill in Minneapolis. he died from suffocation from an officer who held his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. George Floyd left behind his daughter, Gianna Floyd. Trayvon Martin, he was 17 years old from Miami Gardens, Florida, who was fatally shot in Sanford, Florida by George Zimmerman. Rayshard Brooks was a black man from Atlanta who was shot dead on the 12th of June by police officer Garrett Rolfe at Wendy's. He was found sleeping in the driveway, but based on his fleeing effort, he fired a taser back at an officer and was then shot fatally. Lastly, Atania Jefferson was shot through her window and was killed in the presence of her 8-year-old nephew. Police responded to her call in which her neighbor claimed Jefferson's door was open. The officer was indicted on murder charges. Below are some powerful images showing the powerful movement of the Black Lives Matter and other supporters around the world. We first start with Tokyo. We can see that based on these images, they show that protests were happening around the world. In the United States, these powerful images display what's going on and how there's been a rise for action. In the world, we see different symbols. It may be different languages, but it's the same message. Justice needs to be served. Below are some testimonials which are held here in order to talk about the actual current events of police brutality and social injustice. These are real testimonials. We see that police brutality is a byproduct of an already existing police system. People feel enraged and saddened that it's only been brought to light due to social media. Police brutality is extremely an alarming issue and needs to be addressed and resolved decades ago. Police brutality is one of the most brutal things the nations have ever witnessed. It's such a problem seeing it because it's frightening seeing these symbols knowing that it may not be the protection for the American people. And lastly, if you look down here, here's some information of how you can support the cause. By filling in your name, your email, the subject, the message, you can send a message and we can give you more information regarding different ways of improving and helping the movement. So, other than that, I do thank you for your time today. It has been an absolute honor being able to talk about all these topics, which I hold hard to me. Say their names. It's too soon, too many. We need justice. Thank you very much.